So guys, in this chapter, we're going to talk a lot about a few different techniques to make your casting improve with a spinning rod. And so much of that, again, is rod to lure balance. It's about what weight line you're putting on your spinning reels. And it's about the action of the rod itself. Now, one of the rods that I use the most, let's talk about distance casting first, is this utility rod, which is the SWS-7M. This is in the Falcon Rods Clearwater series, one of my faves. It throws most of the jigs and small to medium plugs that I work with clients, and I just enjoy fishing with in general. It's a medium action with a medium fast flex, 8 to 17, quarter to half ounce. That covers a lot. Now, it's only a 7-foot rod. So you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like a distance rod. You know, when I fish with a 7.5 or an 8-foot rod. The problem with fishing with rods that long, and I'm not saying don't do it. There's a 7.5-foot medium action rod that I use in the Clearwater series when I really have to kick something out there that I like it a lot when I'm blind casting. But this rod allows you to do two things. It allows you to have the casting accuracy and it allows you to have distance. So it's perfectly weighted for a Mirrodine. For me to get the most out of this rod, notice how much line I have outside the tip top. I like to keep about that much line out. That way when the rod comes back, it flexes, stores energy, and when it comes forward, it launches the energy and gets it out there. I mean, out there far enough. Now I'm gonna try to accomplish a 100-foot cast, which really, when you think about it, 100-foot cast is what, 30 yards, you know? And 30 yards doesn't seem like a whole lot if you're a football fan, but when you're covering water, 30 yards is a good, I mean, that's a good chunk of water to cast over. So I've got that much line. Again, like always, you want the line closest to your blank right here, roller bearings right there. I open the bail and I'm gonna really power this thing out with a nice sharp cast. And it's compact. You're not going to notice me come all the way back and release way up here. It's going to be short and fast. Now, instead of feathering it the whole way, I just stopped it there at the very end. But that's easily 30, maybe even 35 yards with a medium action rod. And that's all you really need. You'll cover a ton of water. So if you're using power fishing baits like a 1/4 ounce jig head with a 3 or 4 inch tail, a spoon, anything of that nature, this is going to be a decent rod. Now, keep in mind the gauge wire of the jigs that you're using and the spoons that you're using. If they're too heavy a gauge, you might have to step up to the next size rod, which would be the 7 medium heavy. But this 7 medium, especially for plugs, throwing these medium weight plugs, it does a really good job. And all you have to do is remember, you don't want to make this motion where you got too much line. You're thinking, oh, CA said leave 18 inches of line out. But if I leave out 3 feet, it'll be even farther. And do one of these numbers where you're back here and you're trying to launch it like that. Well, sure, it'll go high and sometimes it'll actually go long. But now you've got all that line out and you have very little casting accuracy. And I want to show you once more the type of distance cast I want you to make. I don't want you just to make a huge lob. I want you to literally make a nice long cast, but it has to be accurate. Just leave about 18 inches out the tip top. Drive it. And you'll notice how when I stop it, I let it float and I point my rod tip at it a little bit to get the most out of it. That's what you want to do, get the most. You don't want to create, if you just stop it and leave your rod tip right here, guys, what happens is there's friction at the tip of the rod. You want to follow the lure and then drop it. And that way you'll get the most out of your cast. That's a super long cast and you have a lot of control over it. Now, in the next video, let's talk about shortening up that compact swing and making an accurate cast. Because most times you're trying to be super accurate to throw to fish. If you're sight fishing or if you're fishing potholes or points, a long cast, you need that when you're prospecting. But when you know where fish are, let's talk about that cast in this next video.